Coach, after reflecting, watching film, Pitt game, what would you see that you can correct? I mean, some things you just maybe overmatched, but what areas you think you can correct?
Yeah, I think there was a lot that we could or could correct. I think it's there's a lot of things that played out in that game that obviously we weren't anticipating. We thought we had a great week of practice, and then the game didn't play out the way any of us wanted it to. So, but I thought offensively, like we didn't run very good offense. We didn't get very good shot selection, from pretty much about everyone. And a lot of that was just our movement, our activity, just all around there. So defensively, even though they were kind of scoring early, we were actually doing some pretty good things. We were getting the type of shots we wanted them to take. Now, as the game went on, that went away a little bit. But unfortunately, we talked to our guys like. We're a good team when we're really hooked up and we're connected and playing together on both ends of the floor, but our margin for error is pretty thin, like a lot of teams. So when a team comes out and we're not scoring it well, we got to be able to stay in that game, and then vice versa. When they're scoring, we got to make sure that we're getting the right opportunities on the offensive end to keep us in the game. So it's a combination of both, and then I think our first road game and everything it just snowballed on us, and we didn't respond well. But there was, like we always tell our guys, I'd rather learn from winning. This wasn't the timing of the game that we wanted to have happen, so we're incredibly disappointed. All of us were in that outcome. But the important part now is after it's over, make sure we learn from it to avoid that again.
Best thing for you to start with, run better offense? Would that be a simple fix, or first thing you need tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'd love to say that would be it. Unfortunately, tomorrow night's a team that presses the whole game, and they give you just a different set of problems that again, we need to do a good job of handling. We haven't played a team that's pressed us like we're going to get pressed for 40 minutes. So it'll be another learning opportunity. Where are we at from a press breaker standpoint? And, in practice, it looks good, but when we get on that game floor, how do we respond and how do we react to it? But yes, offensively, we need to be better. We need to get more movement. We need to get better quality shots out of our offense, and then that's a good starting point. And then defensively, I think we've been really good at times this year when we've been engaged and really connected and tough and physical, and I thought we got a little passive as that game went on, and we were just reacting to everything instead of dictating as a defense what the offense was going to do.
From watching that game close on the floor right there, it seemed like Pitt was pretty physical with you. Was that a simple thing as they were bumping you out of and taking you out of some of the cuts and things you run, that you just got to, like you said, be more physical, or is there something else you do to respond to that?
I mean, they guarded us differently than what we do in practice. They backed off a couple guys and then locked on to a couple, which isn't anything crazy. But again, I just didn't think we had great shot selection across the board. From guys that they were making it tough on, we didn't get very good opportunities there, and then other guys maybe we needed to get a little deeper in the shot clock, pass up a few things here and there. But especially in the first half, when you look at how open the shots were, they look great. It's just we want to make sure that we're getting those right guys shooting them at the right times.
Coach, people specifically said that their game plan was to take Tucker and Javon out of the game. If teams want to do that, would you rather have a third someone step up, or run something to get those two open anyway, or like what would your response be?
Yeah, you still have yeah, it would be great to have a third, fourth, fifth option. Yes, so we would love that. And I thought JP came in the second half and gave us a nice little spark there from three. In the first half, I believe he was 0 for 5 or 1 for 5. I can't remember now, but he couldn't have gotten any more open, cleaner looks than what he got. So sometimes it's just a matter of making those open shots. But again, that's basketball. You're going to make and miss open shots. It's way more than that. But even from a defense or offensive standpoint, yeah, teams are going to try and take Tucker and Javon out of the game. We still have to be able to get them good opportunities that we create, good quality shots for them, and that's as an offense where we got to continue to evolve and find ways to get them open, but also utilizing other options as well, so that by us trying to get them open, it creates better opportunities for everyone, and that's where we got to move on to as an offense.
Is there anything from Jonathan in that game against Pitt?
Yeah, I love the fact that, you know what, he had a tough shooting first half, and he came out second half and he kept shooting, and that's what he should do. Missing open shots when you're a good shooter, that you have to keep shooting. And percentages say that's going to balance itself out. He ended up 4 for 10 from three, 40%. It's a nice, solid night. I know how JP thinks and how we think. He feels like he should have made 7, 8 out of 10 with those type of looks. And but overall, I just liked his mindset. He didn't give into it just because he missed a few shots.
So the moment wasn't too big for him then?
No, I didn't think so at all. I thought he came in, he was aggressive, he was confident, and he stuck with what he does best, and that's continue to shoot it.
Darian, do you think everybody did that in that first half? It looked like there were a couple times where maybe the deficit was growing, and maybe it's a search for a good shot, I don't know, or a better shot, but maybe a little bit reserved, gun shy, I'm not sure what the phrase is, but just didn't let it fly like it seemed like you guys had before.
Yeah, I just think, again, I just didn't think we responded well to, we got hit with a run, it got away from us a little bit, and then I actually felt like we almost kind of turned the other way and went a little bit more everybody, not in a selfish way, but everybody was just trying to help and trying to almost get us back in the game by themselves. And that's, our offense is at its best when the ball is moving. We get great player movement and ball movement, and that's when we're hard to guard, and that's when we get better opportunities for everyone.
Coach, when you talk about the kind of dominoes falling, Amani's foul trouble and obviously lack of minutes, how much does that play a role in how it affects the other parts of your game?
Yeah, I mean, Amani's a big piece of what we do on offense, but that's going to be basketball. There's going to be nights where somebody's in foul trouble. This particular night, it happened to be Amani. We still need to be able to respond and run good offense, run good defense, no matter what 5 guys are out on the floor, because those things are going to happen. Yeah, we would love to have had him out there for longer than he did, but that was a situation that we were dealt, and we need to be able to still be productive as a team at both ends of the floor.
Amani's kind of unique though because of the position he plays, though, right?
It is, and the way we try to utilize him, the way we can space the floor and things, that certainly helps us with some things we want to do on the offensive end. But I thought Eduardo came in, did a really nice job too. I thought he gave us some good rim protection defensively, and also thought he put some pressure on the rim on the offensive side. So again, it was unfortunate we didn't have him available more, but certainly not a reason why we didn't perform better.
Is there a teaching moment from his flagrant that you can use that you can't quite throw your arm up like that, or anything out of that, or is it just one of those things, place that happens?
And that's just a play that happened. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's just a play.
You mentioned going against the press that you're going to see. Is your press break offense a thing that's small tweaks depending on where they trap, how they play it, or you have a lot of different option sets for what you go against, what you might see?
For the most part, we keep things as simple as possible. Just make sure you have good spacing, make sure you're strong with the ball, and go meet passes, and then be aggressive against it. Last thing you want to do is get put on your heels, and now you're allowing them to press with no consequences. So if especially in the middle of the game, sometimes late in the game you're up by 10 or something. You're trying to maybe take a little more clock, but we want to make sure that we're attacking the press and putting ourselves in a position where if you're going to press us and we beat it, we need to go get layups or open threes.
You mentioned obviously with the press and Anderson. Is it similar to what he did at Fairleigh Dickinson? I mean, is that what you're trying to do? I know he's flipped the roster around.
Yeah, they've been very competitive in all their games. Some solid games. Played some teams really tough. Had a good win against a typical good Vermont team. So, yeah, they're playing like new roster, but playing really hard, and they just keep coming. They've been down fairly big in a couple games, came all the way back. They just stay with it, and if you let up, they'll hit you with a 6-0 run really quickly. So that's the thing about them, is you can't ever get comfortable. They don't let you get comfortable. So you never get to just get into this set play and not feel anything. So for our guys, that's a different type of game than we played in so far this year, and that's what I'll be looking forward to seeing how we handle that.
Realistically speaking, where are you as compared to where you thought you might be right now, especially after seeing yourself against the ACC team?
Yeah, and again, like we had a secret scrimmage against an ACC team and did just fine. So Friday night was Friday night. That's not what we wanted to happen. It's not the what I thought how that game was going to play out, but it did, and we have to understand why and make the corrections. It's a young season right now. There's a lot of season to play out, and I've had teams when I was very good teams as an assistant coach at Creighton and also at Drake. Like, you have one or two of those nights a year. You need to make sure that those are just outliers. That's not who you are, and I don't believe that's who we are. And we'll get better because of it.
Obviously, Robert Moore's game shots are falling, and I think you guys shot like 51. The next two games, it's been under 40 shooting. So is it just a matter of shots not falling, or kind of what's your take on is it? I mean, obviously you're not going to hit a panic button, but it's here, then it's here. Just kind of your thoughts on why that is, I guess.
Yeah, I think our offense needs to continue to get better as we see different defenses and things, and we need to. We'll get better at responding to those type of things. As an offense, there are things we're trying to get, and we got to do a better job of making sure we get to those things. There's some things that we're a little limited on, and that's okay. We just got to make sure we just play to our strengths as much as possible. And part of that. Of having a good offense is being good on defense, because if we're good on defense and we're getting stops, we can get in transition. I think our team is pretty good when we get out and we can play with pace and play in a transition game. We didn't get enough stops the other night, so then we didn't get in transition as much as we would like, and they're all connected at the end of the day. So your offense is bad, it puts your defense in a bad spot. Your defense is bad, it puts your offense in a bad spot. So overall, we got some things to get better at, and we know that, and we're going to work hard at continuing to do that.
Did you schedule this game? This is you, right?
This is just it was. I think it's like started a 4-year deal maybe last year. I'm not.
I think he's asking the Iona game.
Oh, the Iona game. Yeah. No, sorry. We did schedule the Iona game. Yeah, it was one of our later ones that I think we put on.
Style, some coaches might want to avoid it, like an option team in football. You'd rather not spend time doing that. But did you see this and say, all right, this could be beneficial for us, or was it the last one in the pile that just happened to say yes?
It was late, and there was yeah.
Is there a benefit to seeing this? I think I know where you're going here. But like, this might be a style you'd otherwise want to avoid. But you just said transition. Maybe you guys were reluctant in transition the other night. You have no choice tomorrow. Like, do you find a way to kind of bake this into what you're trying to tell guys and how they take something good from it?
I mean, this is a game we're playing, and we got to make sure that we're ready to try to win this game. Whether they're zone for 40 minutes, press for 40 minutes, whatever team we're playing in this particular night, which happens to be Iona, we have to be prepared to try to beat them, and that means we're going to have to handle their press. In the long term, that's something that hopefully is a great thing for us, because now we've had to go against that, and when we see it down the road by somebody else, whether it be somebody that this is what they do every night, or it's a late game situation where you got to try to protect a lead or something like that, hopefully in the long term it's something that benefits us.
Is this a team you can get it close and score?
Get it.
Throw it close to the basket and be able to score. Is that a team you can do that with?
At times,
Yeah.
At times, whether it be breaking their press or off a dribble penetration, but they do a good job. they scramble, they fly around, they just play with a lot of activity. So the biggest thing is just being strong with it and not giving them turnovers, especially live ball turnovers that lead to baskets that we can't defend. So we just have to make sure defensively we're always playing 5-on-5, which means we're not turning it over. And then on the offensive end, doing a good job of making sure we're getting the movement that we want and the type of looks that we want to get.
There was a possession on Friday where KJ ended up on Diaz Graham. If you're going to switch on defense, do you have to have like rules in place, like KJ don't switch onto a forward, or do you let that happen and then you just say if that does happen, well, somebody needs to go over and double team, or how, what's your approach to that?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a miscommunication there. Again, that's something that we wouldn't like to have happen, but it did. There was two times in a row where we switched basically our KJ, our freshman point guard, onto their 5-men, which is not advantageous for us. But like we told the guys, okay, it wasn't supposed to happen in basketball. Like, stuff happens, right? So we get that opportunity. They get a switch. Sometimes you're going to have to switch. This wasn't one of them. But now how do we correct it? And there's opportunities there where okay, we got a mismatch inside, and we have to front back at KJ's fronting. Somebody's got to provide some help when they throw the ball over. And as I said, we just were not as connected defensively as we needed to be to compete in that game. And against a team like Pitt, who I think is really balanced and has just good versatility all the way across, you got to be really connected on that defensive end to keep them from exploiting you.
Obviously, the score, the output from the other night's not what you wanted, but I mean, that's your first WV Pitt game. What were your thoughts on it? I mean, did you anything that other than the final score, anything that you took from it that hey, this was kind of neat?
I mean, losing is never any fun, so I'm not taking really a lot of positives from it. I think if you just want to look at it from just a game perspective of, what our guys were in a great environment. They had, a really good home atmosphere, played a really quality opponent, and it was a great early non-conference test for us, and that, the result that played out was not what we wanted. So we got to figure out what went wrong, and I think there are plenty of things that we can do a lot better. I think there's a lot of things we have been doing much better. We just that particular night we didn't bring it, and we from a learning opportunity, it's like that's what happens. Like, when we don't play a certain way, that's what you're setting yourself up for. And when we play the way that I feel like we're capable of on our top end, I think we're a good basketball team.
Anything else?
I don't think we're going to see you before you leave, but how do you approach the mid-season tournaments where you're going to play a bunch of games in really short amount of time?
Yeah, I love the MTEs. I think they're, again, great opportunities for everybody to put yourself in this particular case in a tournament setting, so you can see how they kind of respond. You got to play 3 games in 3 days, very similar to post-conference tournaments. So you get a little idea of at some point, guys, this is what we're going to be in March. Of you're going to have to play one night, second night, third night. Gives you a little kind of early glimpse at some of those things. The recovery, the guys now, they felt that. Hey, I played last night, I played 34 minutes, I got to do it again tonight. And then just from for us, you get these 3 games in 3 days, you're going to see 3 different teams most likely. From a learning opportunity, you're going to see teams that really post it. You're going to see teams that maybe play great in transition. You're going to see some zone defense. So it's going to really challenge your team, which is only beneficial for you as you move forward through non-conference play and preparing yourself for start of Big 12 play. Is now, by that time, you've hopefully, over those 11 non-conference games, you've seen a little bit of everything. You've been able to learn from where your deficiencies are. You've also been able to learn, hey, this is what we're kind of good at, and try to make those adjustments. So I love the MTE tournaments. I think they're great challenges, great opportunities for teams to learn a lot about themselves.
Once you get to break out your flip-flops, right? I mean,
Yeah, I typically don't get a lot of flip-flop time, but yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you all.